Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Chug Nerd YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about, I don't have it with me, so I'll just put it here. The Marshall Mode 4, Marshall's most hated or misunderstood guitar amplifier. Let's check it out. Okay, so like I said, welcome back to the Chug Nerd YouTube channel. My name is DJ. I'm a guitarist in the southwest of the UK. Been playing guitar for about 20 years or so now. And today I wanted to talk to you about my beloved Mode 4, my Marshall Mode 4. Easily Marshall's most controversial and hated amplifier ever made. No overstatement. It is hated by so many. You've only got to type in on Google Marshall Mode 4 and you will find forum upon forum upon forum saying how it's the worst mode amp that Marshall have ever made. However, it holds a place in my heart, and I just wanted to share some tones, share a demo with you, and have a chat about why I love it so much. So before we go any further, let's check out our full demo mix, recorded entirely and only with the Marshall Mode 4. No boost, no pedals, nothing, just the Mode 4 running through my orange 4x12 with an SE V7 and an SM58 on the cab. Let's check it out. So the Marshall Mode 4 is a polarizing amplifier by Marshall. It was released in the early 2000s and brought to fame by bands like System of a Down, who coined their sound, certainly I think for Toxicity, using the Marshall Mode 4. It was designed to fill that ultra high, like really ultra high gain tone that bands of that time were kind of looking for. But in making it a little bit in the same way as like a jazz master that was made for jazz musicians and then jazz musicians didn't like it. It was made for high gain guitarists and then high gain guitarists didn't really like it. So it kind of got shunned and forgotten about, and I think quite quickly forgotten. But it came out at a time for me when I was certainly developing as a guitar player, and I remember going to a guitar clinic in a local town called Frome where Jim Marshall was there with like a crew of session musicians, and they were showcasing all their different amplifiers, including the MG range, which hadn't long come out. They had some other bits and pieces as well, but they were also showcasing the Mode 4. And I think because of that and the era that I grew up in, where that came out and was such a big amplifier at the time, I think that's just where I became so attached to it. So signal chain for the demo and for all the tones that you're going to be hearing today is going to be my guitar, which is going to be the Legator Ghost G7AX XA. going in straight in front of the amplifier, and it's going to be going straight into the mode 4, nothing else, no noise gates, no boosts, no pedal board, absolutely nothing, just straight into the amplifier, and that's the tones that you're going to be hearing today. That's going to be coming through the orange 4x12 cabinet, which is mic'd up with an SM57 and an SE V7 microphone. They go into my Focusrite Solo interface, and that's going to go into GarageBand, where I will just tidy up the EQ a tiny bit just to make it palatable for YouTube. So spec-wise, it is a pretty kind of different amplifier, I guess. It's a hybrid amplifier. So the bones of it are that it's got a 12AX7 preamp on both amp 1 and amp 2, and then a solid state power amp on amp 1 and amp 2. And the reason I'm saying amp 1 and amp 2 is because the mode 4 combines two separate amplifiers on each side, each with two channels. So it is technically two different amps designed in different ways in one head, which have two channels. So you've got amp 1, which has clean and crunch, and amp 2, which has overdrive 1 and overdrive 2. So the amplifier is 350 watts, which is insane, but it's that powerful to emulate a 100 watt valve amp. Amplifier 1 is voiced after a Super Lead Plexi or a Silver Jubilee amplifier. So it gives you that clean, that edge of breakup, and that crunch kind of characteristic that you'd expect from a Marshall. Amplifier 2 then takes things even further, where it's searching for super high gain and oversaturated tones. Each amplifier has got its own EQ settings, so it's got bass, middle, treble for left and right sides, or amp 1 and amp 2. You've got presence and depth, or presence and resonance control, I think it is labeled on the amplifier. You've also got a reverb, which reacts differently whether you're on amp 1 or amp 2, so you can have it set differently on each amplifier, which is quite cool. You've got a tone matrix control as well with 3 settings, and that essentially bypasses the bass and treble, but controls where the mids sit in the tone of the amplifier. Personally, I like setting number 2, which just kind of sits in the middle. Both amplifiers 1 and 2 also have this controversial scoop switch as well, which just literally does what you'd expect it to do. You push it in and it scoops the mids right out of the mix, and it just doesn't sound very good. We don't mess with that. I think I put a tone demo in this video of the scoop switch in action. It does give a super like Dimebag Darrell-esque kind of sound, because obviously he used solid state amplifiers with super scooped mids, so it does give that kind of tone if that's what you're going for, but it's not overly usable, certainly from a modern metal perspective.
Hey all, DJ and editing here. I didn't realise that my tripod had started dropping at this point of the video, so you might notice you can see less and less of the top of my head. It's cool, the top of my head ain't that much to look at anyway, so don't stress, y'all are seeing the best bits. That being the Schecter on my lap. Just because I can, I will now make AI say, Chuggy Wuggies.
Chuggy Wuggies.
Anyway, back to you, Bromo Sapien.
So let's talk about the different channels. So amp 1 has your clean and your crunch channels on it. Now for me, and my application of it. In my band HollowKin, I use this amp quite a lot. I have my Victory Kraken, which does everything I need it to do, but I do quite often use my Mode 4, and it is my Mode 4. It's not a sponsored video or anything. It's my own amplifier that I own, and I do use it quite a lot when we rehearse, certainly. It has got an insane amount of headroom on the clean channel. And I love throwing like my heavy menace and generally my pedal board through channel 1. It's got a super crispy, clean, chimey, clean tone. Like I said earlier, it's based on a plexi. It's beautiful, really, really clean and really crisp and really articulate, and it really lets the heavy menace kind of do what it needs to do, and it cuts through so crisp and so powerfully. It's absolutely superb. I love it. Don't massively use the crunch channel so much, and then on the other side of the amplifier on amp 2, I generally only use the overdrive 2 setting, which I use as like a lead channel, and it has got a solo switch as well and a reverb that I mentioned earlier, so I do tend to use that more as a kind of lead channel. I've got my Big Sky, but I do really like the digital reverb that is in the Mode 4. Might not be the best, but I just really like the character of it. It suits what I do really, really nicely. There's a couple of weird features on this amp which I don't think you're ever going to use. I've already mentioned the scoop switches. You're never going to ever use them unless you're really specifically trying to play like Dimebag or get his tones. But it's also got this weird tuner out socket, so you can plug a guitar tuner straight in and get silent tuning on stage. I mean, I use a Boss tuner, I get silent tuning on stage as part of my signal chain anyway, so I don't really know what the point of that is. I can't really figure out why that's there, but it is. It's also got a few modern appointments. I don't know if you'd call them modern appointments at this point, but it's got emulated line outs, both jack and XLR, and they are separate to the actual amplifier, so you can have the master volume turned down and take a lead out of the XLR or the jack output and record silently, essentially, if you wanted to, from the head, which is great, I guess. We use in-ears, so I run it out from the XLR into our mixing desk and then get a feed in my ears, so that's cool. I think with this kind of amplifier, you're kind of going to make up your mind for yourself. I think most people would just write it off based on what they've read, based on what they've seen. But I think when you listen to it, I think it personally sounds great. I really, really enjoy the tones that I get out of the Mode 4. And Hodds and Bo, who are in HollowKin as well, Hodds our bassist and Bo the other guitarist. Hodds is actually a guitarist. Normally, he just plays bass for us. But they love it as well. It sounds absolutely superb. I think if you can get it dialed in just right, and don't get me wrong, it can sound absolutely... But if you can get it dialed in just right, I think it's a wicked amplifier, and I think it's a real shame that it gets overlooked. fact, I had this weird prediction that the tone of it, I think, is going to come back into favor at some point. I don't know why. I just always felt like the Mode 4 never got his chance. And I feel like it's going to make a resurgence, like someone's going to rediscover it and then make that part of their sound, or like maybe it could be me, who knows. But I feel like it's going to make a resurgence at some point and become popular. We'll see if I'm right, who knows, I might be completely wrong in that. I think it's a great amplifier. I love the tones I get out of it. I really enjoy using it. I love the look of it. Like on the surface, I think it's such a sick amp to look at. I think it looks really different and unique. I know it kind of came out at the same time as the Mesa Boogie triple rectifier, and that had the kind of silver checker plate front to it, and that Hughes and Kettner were just releasing some big amps in the kind of big metal, super saturated, high gain kind of forum. So I think they were all trying to make their amps look really different to what their brands were kind of known for. So they ditched the traditional look of a Marshall and they went with this kind of Art Deco kind of look on the front of the Mode 4, and I think it looks super, super cool. Sadly, I don't have the matching cab. I used to have the Mode 4 350 cab and it was so good. I regret every day that I sold it, and one day I'll get one again. But for now, through the orange 4x12, I think it sounds so sick. So this was more intended to be a bit of a discussion video about the Mode 4. What do you think? I wanted to provide some samples of sounds, of cleans, of crunches, of the overdrive sound. I wanted to provide a mix, and then I kind of wanted to put this out to the world, out to YouTube, to have a conversation with you and see what you think of the Mode 4. Do you love this amplifier like I do? Do you think this is the worst amplifier that was ever made? Do you not care at all? Let me know down below in the comments. I genuinely would love to have a conversation with you down there about it and see what you think about it, and just chat about the Marshall Mode 4 and all the controversy that surrounded it over the years. Anyway, I'm going to leave the video there for today, and I'm going to let the Mode 4 do the talking. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for being with me today. If you've enjoyed it, please feel free to subscribe. I'd really appreciate you being here. I'm just trying to hit 300 followers at the moment, and your subscription would mean the world to me. A thumbs up and a comment would be awesome as well, and they really help me tackle the algorithm that I'm trying to get my head around at the moment. And hopefully I will catch up with you again in another video very, very soon. Thanks again for joining me, everybody. Take care. In a bit.